Welcome to the No Bull Political Arena with your hosts, Sophia Nelson, Bill O'Reilly, Brian Mistro, and TJ McCormick. It's real voices, raw politics, and no bullshit. Hi everybody, welcome to the Political Arena. It's Brian Mistro. I'm here with my friends TJ and Bill. Good to have you back, TJ. And we've got so much stuff to cover tonight. I'm just going to start off saying we're going to have to jump into it quickly. Any of these one topics could probably take up an entire show. So one of the things we're going to start off on is the Iran war. I don't think we have a choice. I think that's going to be damn near daily news coming out from us because so many things are changing so quickly. But I'm going to get your reaction, Bill and TJ. Let me just read off a couple of slides and let everybody know what's the latest with the war as of today. And I'm going to quote these for those that that are just listening to us or don't want to read the slides. But quote. It may only last 60 days, I doubt it, likely would become permanent, but the U.S. Treasury's waiver is effectively rolling back 40 plus years of American oil sanctions against Iran. Even U.S. refiners are now allowed to import Iranian oil and pay for it in greenback. The next slide says that Treasury just waived oil sanctions on Iran for 60 days, citing progress. Iran could rake in up to 10 billion of that decision alone. In contrast, the Obama administration didn't lift sanctions until a deal was signed and the IAEA independently verified Iran's nuclear compliance. Bill, what do you think? Are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. It is. I mean, who knows what's going to go on with the negotiations? They seem to fall apart every 10 minutes, and then they come back, and you can't really believe anything you hear from anybody these days. Um, the blowback on the Trump administration from the right has been very, very strong, um, and as it should be. I didn't like the Obama deal at all. I thought we had to do something more, but we haven't done anything more. So it's day by day, Brian. It's day by day. I don't even know if the Strait's open this second. It was closed this morning. I don't even know. You check it throughout the day, and it's almost become a joke. It's comical. It's you read one headline, see the other. It's just it ain't happening.
Yeah.
But the Iranians are out there, crowing, and they're crowing in Europe and that kind of stuff. I don't know what they're crowing about because they just lost a ton of their infrastructure.
Yeah.
And they could lose more if we decide that's the way to go. But
Yeah.
right now, it is not a good situation. And again, I think there was a panic, a political panic, and we're day by day. We're day by day.
Yeah.
TJ, I
No.
effectively said nothing. What say you?
About the Iran war?
Yeah, I just said I
Yes.
don't
Well,
know.
about
Every day, it's a new show.
Look, it feels like we've come a full 360 degrees. It's difficult for people who supported this war and this president and this narrative, because we are in many ways. It feels like we are right back to the very beginning. We're talking about. Today I'm reading headlines and notes about weapons inspections. I thought there were no weapons left. We're hearing talk about 300 whatever, what is it, 300 billion, 300 million,
300 billion with a B.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I understand it's not U.S. taxpayer money. I know that. The Obama thing was literally pallets of cash. That's a cliche. That was true. And that was American taxpayer money. That was never a good thing. So I understand there's a nuance here about what these funds represent, where they come from, what they're going to be allowed to do with them. Uh, but the Strait is becoming a joke. The Strait is open, it's closed, it's open, it's closed. And by the way, I'm not recapping it for everybody. I'm saying this is how it strikes anybody on any given day. If you're paying attention or halfway paying attention, this is the incoming and the outgoing on this story. And so I've kind of developed a tin ear to it. I'm waiting for it to just one of these days it'll be over. And the real shame is too, is that because I was just going to say, and hopefully then my gas prices will come down tangibly and permanently back to where they were. And yet at the same time, had we gone into this for the long haul, there was myself and a lot of Americans who were willing to
Yeah,
pay the price,
yeah, yeah.
literally, to get that done.
Add me to one of
Yep.
them. Add me to one
Yep,
of
yep.
them.
Me as
Amen.
well. You know, but I think almost the worst thing, Brian and TJ, is that, but I mean, the strait will go back at some point. It's people need the oil. It's going to happen. Humankind, needs material, and they're going to get it somehow.
All right.
It's all going to work out that way. But the thing that worries me the most is that the anti-Israeli propagandists are winning. That Iran didn't win any war. They got the shit blown out of them. You know what I mean? But the propagandists are winning, and they're turning people against Jews all over the world, and it's become it is much bigger than it's ever been in my lifetime. We're seeing incidents of it every single day, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not hidden. They're not little kids drawing swastikas in the middle of the night, like having a little power charge, like, oh, look, we can get people upset. This is happening in cafes and restaurants, people being dragged out, you Jew, beating them. Um, it is crisis level. It is
Hmm.
crisis level. I know we're going to talk a little bit about things
Yeah.
going on in New York in a minute, but that's the thing that I worry about the most is that there seems to be such an acceptance to blame Israel for everything. I mean, since 1948, these guys have gotten attacked from every angle, everybody, and whenever they fight back, the camera goes right against them.
Yeah.
And it is so serious right now that you're going to have a real problem in this country.
Yeah,
This country.
let's
This
go ahead.
country.
Let's go ahead and jump to that then. I mean, you brought it up, and there were some other things we can talk about the Iran war in a minute. I'll just add one quick thing here that since I have been in politics, and I don't know what was that. I mean, full time, I guess, since 2017, something like that. I have never, ever, ever once heard Mark Levin come out and nail Trump or the Trump administration over something, and he did today. I just is so this. I don't know what the I'd be like Rachel Maddow jumping Obama's ass, right? I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? Because he could do no wrong. But it shares exactly the same concerns, Bill, that you shared, and almost to a T what TJ said. So I'm just going to show this. So it's Eric Erickson and Mark Levin. And the State Department said last week that Iran uses its oil revenues to fund terror. Today, the United States is waiving restrictions on Iran to sell oil. They will fund terror and re weaponize. It appears the goal of the Vance plan is to force the United States into isolation by funding Iran's rearmament so we cannot attack them due to missile shield they will build. 100%. No shit. I've been saying that from the beginning. I think all of us have. This is from Mark Levin. And this, again, I'm gonna take a picture of this. I'm gonna put it on a plaque and stick it on my boat. Uh, Quote from Mark Levin: Iran can now sell oil. China buys more of Iran's oil than any country, upwards to 90%. They will be thrilled. Where are the safeguards to prevent the Iranian regime from using the money to rebuild war machines? I see none. Does that concern anybody? And please don't blame Israel. We're doing this with our Qatari and Pakistani friends. No shit. Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, when you lose Mark Levin, okay, and Eric Erickson's been, I think he's been pretty fair about most of this stuff and most of his opinions. I mean, he's certainly a conservative. But when you lose Mark Levin, then you need to go back and reassess what the hell you're doing because it ain't going well. Let's go ahead and jump to that. Bill brought up, because I think this is something we ought to deep dive, Bill. It is something that you and TJ are seeing regularly, I think, in especially in New York. So let me go ahead and show the slides here because some of them is just jaw dropping.
Jaw dropping.
Percentage of Americans with a negative view of Israel. In 2022, young Republicans, and this is a Pew Research poll, so it's a very high quality poll. 2022, young Republicans, it was 35% had a negative view of Israel. Young Democrats was 62%. The entire American public was 42%. I'm just going to forget about the Democrats for a minute, but let's just focus on the young Republicans. So, as of today, young Republicans have gone from a 35% in 2022 with a negative view of Israel to 57%. Holy hell. And then we've got two, and Bill, you were kind enough to share this. New York City coffee shop bans pro Israeli politician in nasty posts.
Congressman.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so they're banning him because he's
But Brad, I think you
pro-Israel.
should read. I think you should read the Young Democrats number, to be fair,
Okay,
because that's even more alarming.
well, it is, and so for the Young Democrats, it was 62% in 2022. Today, it's 84%. 84% if you're a Young Democrat have a negative view of Israel. I mean,
And well, let's talk a little bit about what happened in New York today. And I wish I had a
I
phone
wish you
number
would. Yeah, yeah. Please do.
for viewers, but they don't have a phone number because they're so cool. This coffee chain in Brooklyn, who needs a phone number? I'm sure they don't take cash either. It's called Poetica Coffee. They've got like 7 branches, East Village and Brooklyn. And so a member of Congress who was just the Grand Marshal of the Israel Day Parade, Dan Goldman, Democrat, very nice guy, moderate Democrat. And so he went with his daughter. She needed to use the bathroom, and they went into the store. And so he asked the barista, "Can you use the bathroom?" And she did. And he felt like he should buy something to be nice. So he bought a cup of coffee. Then he gets this from the owner of the store later on. "Hey, Congressman Dan Goldman, we see that you stopped by our shop today for coffee. Do you see how it doesn't taste like genocide juice, or are you still having a hard time telling the difference? So here at Poetica, we don't serve racists, fascists, homophobes, genocide enablers, or anyone in between. Too bad we didn't recognize you right away, or we would have turned you away.
Oh my
We issued you
God.
a we issued you a refund. We don't need your money. It's probably coming from APAC anyway. Enjoy your loss on Tuesday. Don't ever come back to Poetica." This day after Mayor Mondani gave his speech, and he described APAC as monsters who, quote, "move millions in dark money to accomplish a single goal, to preserve their power so they can turn us against one another." This is what's going on in New York, and people are listening. And yes, there's some anti-Semitism on the right, Brian, and I hate it, and
On the
TJ and I
far
both hate
right.
it. We try to fight
Yeah.
it on the far right, but it's not accepted by the party. Right now in the Democratic Party, at least in New York, it's considered hip to hate Israel. It's hip to be anti-Semitic.
It's the little black dress. It's the
It's the
little
little
black
black
dress.
dress.
It's in every Democrat's fucking closet. That's why I got to say, I'm glad Bill made that catch and that we, in fact, did talk about that Democrat number, because when you're in the 80s, I mean, it would not have.
Well, the only Democrats
We,
left are Jewish Democrats. The other
we,
20% probably.
I
You
know,
know,
but what I'm, but but just to drop a dime on our own show here, that would have been an egregious drop to not bring that number up. Um, and to think that we were just about to go down the path about dissecting young Republican.
No, and
And
that wasn't the reason I was doing it. My opinion was
well,
because the reason I didn't do it is because I guess I've just become numb
in
so
New York,
numb
in
anti-Trump
New
to
York,
that you're looking
no
for
no no
any
no 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 no
opportunity.
no 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 that's not it at all. It's because I've just become numb to the fact about how they feel about Israel. So if it was 100%, it wouldn't have shocked me either. And
Yeah.
that's why I was bringing it up. I do think
That's
it's
fair. That's fair.
yeah,
That's very fair. I get that. I
yeah.
get that. That's very fair. And so yes, okay, yes, mea culpa on my part, but no, that is a very fair point, and understandable. Uh, Back to loop around. Also now Goldman, I do give him credit for taking a principled stand. He did not endorse Mamdani, which I give him credit for. And I'll tell you, Bill, I don't know how much of a nice guy. This guy, about the only principled thing he's done is not endorse Mamdani.
Mm.
Dan Goldman will go and attack anybody with an R after their name. As a matter of fact, absent Mamdani and his unbelievable anti-Semitism and radical Islamism, I think absent him, I don't know if there's a Democrat that he wouldn't endorse, regardless of their positions. I think this is a complete outlier, and Dan Goldman has done as much as he can to divide to divide Americans, New Yorkers, to attack Trump. I mean, this guy will be leading the impeachment charge, just like he did the last time. I mean, honestly, fuck Dan Goldman. I'm
but worries
glad
about
that I'm glad that that this.
and TJ, to your point, I'm talking about people who know him personally, say he's a nice family guy,
Well,
that type of thing. Whatever. I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, you're saying he'll endorse any Democrats, but he's getting to the point where the Democrats aren't going to accept his endorsement.
I thought
Then where's he going to go?
and help me because
Then where's he going to go?
this is y'all's politics, and help me if I'm wrong when I say this. Wasn't he losing his primary? Wasn't he
Yeah, he's
losing
not going
his?
to win tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in a
Yeah.
race tomorrow. He's not going to win.
So I
But
mean,
it's
politically, it'd have been best for him to say screw Israel and pick up some of those votes,
Again, this
right?
is his one moment of principle. I mean, the
but he,
the guy is a nepo baby who has inherited tens, hundreds of millions, tens of millions of dollars.
Mm.
This guy, and he just sits there in judgment of anybody who's not a
he's
Democrat.
Levi Strauss. Is that his
F him.
family?
Yes,
Is it
exactly.
Levi
really?
Strauss.
F
Yeah,
him
yeah, yeah. Levi
sideways.
Strauss. Yeah,
F
yep.
him sideways.
Yeah. So you don't have to feel bad about the price of the
No,
coffee,
I
but
feel terrible about that. I feel terrible about that. I feel awful
$9
that
for a cup of coffee.
I feel awful that his daughter has been. But you know what? Maybe this is what it takes maybe this is what it takes to totally illuminate him and maybe some other erstwhile moderate Democrats in New York, that they are living through a daily crystal knocked. They are living through a daily crystal knocked in New York. We have a mayor whose wife last week stood out there in a cute Knicks outfit and was cheered by the crowd. This is a woman who did not condemn October 7th. And she's
Really?
being cheered for her cute friggin' Knicks uniform.
Yeah. The,
F
the,
F
the,
all of them.
the thing about and I know this isn't a New York centric show, and I don't mean to just talk about New York, but Brooklyn has a piece, and it should have a piece in the heart of every American. At one
Mhm.
point, it was like every third American had come through Brooklyn. Their family
Mm.
had come through at one point, and the amazing thing about New York and about America in general is that you had all these waves of migrants and immigrants that came into New York, and particularly into Brooklyn, and of every possible variety you could have. And every generation has left their ire and their fighting behind in
Mm.
the old country. The
Mhm.
Irish and the English live next to each other. Jews and Arabs live next to each other. Black and white, whatever the issue. But Chinese and Vietnamese, Cambodians and Thais, like people have been at war since the beginning. You drop it when you get to the U.S. Well, right
Mhm.
now in Brooklyn, they are stirring it up, and in Lower Manhattan, they're stirring it up, and they're trying to bring those fights into. I mean, they're doing a very good job of it. I
And
mean,
I
look
think
at
a
that
lot, and
number.
again,
86% of young Democrats hate Israel.
and
Like,
it's like I
It's
said a few
Lord.
minutes ago, we somehow, and I don't know why, this is where for somebody smarter than me, but what I see is, and what I've sensed for some time is a normalization. And somebody who's a never Trumper could easily say the same thing about normalizing a guy like Trump and J6 and all this other stuff. So the same could be said but the idea that there was so much, we're not wrong about the Democrats. They are a bunch of lily-livered little sheep, and they are so afraid, and they don't take any cover in their own massive numbers. They're so afraid of these leftists and I guess for good reason, in these primaries and in other places, that they refuse to stand up to and not only did they refuse to stand up to this hateful anti-Semitic bunch of socialists, they got in behind them. They supported them. They did more than normalize them, and it's like, and look what we're left with now. This is the Democrats' fault, and to a certain extent our fault. Uh, but I don't
How do you
think we've
how do you
sounded
how
the
do you
alarm.
unwind it?
I
How do
Yeah,
we
that was
unwind
kind of
it?
my question. How did we get here, and
I
how do
don't
you
know.
unwind it?
I
I
don't know. Secret deals with. Hey, I get sit around the table with, see if you can find a regular run-of-the-mill Democrat who's willing to sit down. I mean, look at the way we've got a bunch of suburban Democrats attacking a true proper centrist like Mike Lawler as if he is an actual Nazi. I mean, the vitriol and hate towards, I mean, so like my answer would be, how do we wind it back in or unwind it? Somehow try to make peace and open dialogue with the last remaining 2 weeks ago, one of the most middle of the road, backslapping, I don't have an axe to grind Democrats, as at least as he presents himself. George Latimer canceled an in-person, just a chair and a chair. It was going to be him and Lawler talking about issues of the day at a Jewish community center. And he canceled it because, no doubt, hard leftists were telling him, don't you dare, George. And if anybody could have walked into that room with Mike Lawler, it would have been George Latimer, and he could have been full of shit. but throw in platitudes out and they would have landed beautifully. People would have believed these platitudes, or he could have meant them for all I know. But there you go, right there. The only hope is actually sitting down and having conversations with people that disagree. And the most middle of the road dude, George Latimer, caved to the far left in his party and refused. I mean, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what happened. He
Yeah.
canceled an evening with Mike at a Jewish community center.
The thing is, this stuff is not happening organic. Is not
Mm.
happening organically. That's the problem. I mean, it becomes organic after a while because you get that madness that takes over people. That group mentality. But this stuff is think tank driven. Like these demonstrations, the rest of it, it's like
Hmm.
it's like the left has always had this guy. And I'm not looking to just bash the left. If there's anti-Semitism on the right, we got to deal with that too. But what I'm seeing in New York right now is purely from the left,
Yeah, but
and it is
but no,
in New
I'm
York.
agreeing with you. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you because, and for something that you said earlier, you said, at least in New York on the far right that are against Israel, you said that they're not welcome in the party. Um, they are in the Democratic Party, right?
Right.
I mean, and
They used to
so
they were running
there
the
is a,
Democratic
there
Party
is
Once
ten
the
there is
years
a
ago.
mayor.
stark difference there. There is a stark difference. So here's
And listen, so and by the way, I'm sorry. This struck me as you were as you were introducing this topic a moment ago. And by the way, some of that, I would imagine some, if as depending on when those polls were taken, there could be some legitimate axe grinding against Israel right now for messing with this peace deal. There could be principled
Lebanon.
Republicans who
Yeah, you
agree
get a
with the
principal
idea that you
arguments, sure.
don't be taken down. You want to go and knock somebody out. Great. You don't have to take down an apartment building to get every last Hezbollah. So there could be some of that, depending on when that poll was taken, some principled issues with with Israel, which is what anti-Semites on the left hide behind all the time.
Right, but and that's a conversation that should have be had between friends,
Yes.
right? Where
Mm,
we call the Israelis one on one and say, we got a problem with this. They could
yeah.
say it to
Yeah.
us, That
Yep.
that's how it
So,
works.
so I'm going to throw this out, and again, it's something you guys, especially you, Bill, know a lot more than I do, and I know we briefly talked about this earlier. I found a lot of and by the way, I you both know that I completely agree with you on Israel, so that we'll
Yeah.
just make sure that that's completely clear. If anything, I'm probably uh, uh, more hawkish about what they should do. Anyway, so
Yeah, no,
putting
you are.
that
Yeah,
putting
you've
that
been
putting
on
that out
record.
there.
You've been on record
Yeah,
from day one
from
about that.
day one. And so,
Mhm.
but is Netanyahu part of the problem? And let me define why. It's and Donald Trump was even jumping his ass a couple of days ago. About what TJ was saying, the bombing, and if a rocket falls in the middle of sand, then you go out and level a building after that. It's not proportional. But he's extremely hawkish. I think he's the most hawkish leader that Israel has had, at least that I'm aware of. And he is, and I'm not saying that this is right. Okay, I'm not agreeing with it, but I read enough posts from the left that he's a difficult figure and almost representative of what many on the far left want to picture for the negatives of Israel. So I'm not throwing him under the bus,
No, no,
but
no.
he
That
is
makes
he is
sense.
he is a very he's a frictional character, and Trump is mark this one down, TJ. Trump's actually right. I mean, his immediate thought is to go bomb the hell out of something instead of and fix things with bombs instead of trying to work it out. Now, what do you think? I mean, is part of
My
this problem Netanyahu?
my sense is whoever is the leader and president of Israel will become the next Netanyahu for the left. I mean,
Mm,
they put a little Hitler mustache under Reagan posters, under George H.W. Posters, under George Bush posters, under McCain. I mean, they'll find it. I mean, Netanyahu is a very controversial figure. I mean, yes,
yeah.
absolutely. He's been in there a long time. He's had a lot of legal issues back and forth,
Hmm.
but I think that they just have to start all over again once they get an next president. The
Hmm.
left will start to pick at that person. They'll go after Golda Meir, Sharon. It doesn't matter who it is. They have been gunning for Israel for 40 years. It's to them it's a white black thing. It's a dark people, colored people, white. It's like give me a friggin' break. And Netanyahu to me for all his extremes and the rest of them, I love the fact coming from Jewish history and from where that those people came from, and that people came from. He's finally saying no more. No more, period. No more. We will put everything we have into fighting you. We're not ending up in a camp again. That's what this is about. That's what this is about, and I completely respect him for it.
So I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to merge. And I know we had another topic we're going to get to. It's just going to have to wait till tomorrow, or the next day. But let's merge the Iran war with Israel for a second, and let's consider the two of those connected, which they are. Um, would Israel not be right to try to blow up that deal? I mean, I can't imagine. I can't
I'd blow it
imagine
up if I were them.
If Mexico or Brazil was supporting terrorists to be shooting rockets into America. I can't imagine that we would listen to anybody else and say just turn the other cheek, right? And this deal, as it's being reported, and it's not over yet. Okay, I get that, but the deal, as it's being reported, is pretty much universally hated by everybody. That doesn't work for the Trump administration.
And
Um,
Iran. Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, and if Iran loves it, Hezbollah loves it, which they both put out statements they do. Well, no shit, you're doing something wrong. My question is, how if you're Israel, how do you level set this? Because much more than the United States, Iran is, yes, it's a threat to the U.S., but it's a existential threat to Israel. How do you level set that? Because I mean, first of all, they didn't even include Israel in the discussions about it. I mean, are we really going to put Iran on a path to where they can rebuild their ballistic missile systems and potentially have a nuclear weapon? So, I mean, if you're Israel, what the hell do you do right now? I mean, they're caught in a vice, aren't they?
Yeah,
All you,
and
TJ.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. Well, look, I mean, even hearing Trump try to discuss this at the end of last week, was in middle of Wednesday, Thursday last week, is they're talking about in weird little Trumpisms, um, talking about I may not have Trump. I certainly don't have Trump derangement syndrome, but I'm definitely acting with living my life with a bad case of Trump fatigue.
Mm.
Or you know what I mean, or living in a Trump world fatigue, and that's a universal reference to everything about him: crazy media, crazy people,
Yeah.
gas prices, and in this case, hearing him talk about, well, look, some people, everybody has a little bit of uranium if they're going to use it for electricity. Well, a little bit,
I
some
can't believe he
weapons. Say,
said
look,
that.
if your neighbors have weapons and then you don't
I
have
can't believe he
it,
said
okay,
that.
well, maybe they have a point. Meanwhile, 30 days ago, we're talking about a bloodthirsty regime. We're going to bomb them to hell like we've never seen before. The gates of hell will be open, and and it's like and I was buckled up and ready to go. But Brian was buckled up and ready to go. He understood. Even you said, I don't
I
like
said
the
put
idea of
boots on the
boots on the
ground.
ground.
I
Right?
said
You
put
don't
boots
like
on
the
the
idea,
ground.
but you gotta, and you're willing to accept it. We were all in. I think there's a weird fracture right now with where Republicans are concerned and Trump supporters, where they don't quite know what to say anymore. Once it's like trying to follow like a firefly. Keep your eye on that one lightning bug out there in the yard, and you just get tired of it, and you can't do it anymore. Trying to follow this narrative is like that, and as a supporter, as an apologist, as an explainer, as a consumer of it, a uh, as a person who's supposed to come out here and comment on it, I'm having a hard time. I'm really having a hard time creating opinions on some of this stuff, let alone dissecting it for viewers and listeners. So man, I'm looking for some clarity, like everybody else, and I'm
It's hard
not
to have an
really.
opinion on things that aren't thought out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
I
they're
mean,
clearly
look,
not
yeah.
thought out.
and we're out of time, Bill. But I just want to ask you, it's very quickly. You're Israel. What do you do? I mean, you can't tell the United States to go jump in a lake. They do buy and are given most of our weapons. They are, in my opinion, an ally. I've heard some of the Democrats saying, "Oh, they're not an ally." I mean, I think that they're an ally for the
Of
United
course they are.
States.
Of course they are.
And
I'd respect them if they told us to go pound sand,
They
and
should.
then went ahead and did their shit. I'd respect them.
Totally.
what do
Sorry.
you what do you
What I would
do?
do if I were Israel, I would spend every waking hour putting every resource into preparing to take down that regime in Iran, however they have to do it. every waking minute and hour, because that is their destruction if they don't.
It is.
They know it. Iran knows it and openly says it, and they've been saying it for years.
Yes.
No choice. No choice.
Yes.
If you want Israel to exist as a state,
October 7th cannot have happened in vain.
We are all in agreement on that. I think they have to prepare for the worst. I do, and I think and I've said this before in the show, I don't care if an Iranian gets out there, rides his camel with a shovel, and starts digging up where that uranium was, bomb it again. And then if they try it, bomb it again. I don't give a damn if it's a shovel or if it's a caterpillar.
Totally.
Bomb it again. I mean, just the more distance we can put between their uranium and sand in the atmosphere, then the better off we all are going to be, right? So,
Amen. Amen.
all right,
Well
everybody, we're going to get to some more stuff. We will not have a show on Wednesday due to some travel, and we're going to try to have a show tomorrow. We will see. But thank you for joining us. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are getting noticed. We are getting a lot of questions and comments. So if you've got one, leave one too. We'll read it out on the air, especially if it's something that applies to this. And, we've got some other shows, including The Hinge of History, which is a completely apolitical show. And we talk about AI and how AI is going to affect you. And it will. It will. And we've also got another show. It's more like a 60 minutes where we deep dive with restoring the American dream. So we've got a lot of really neat stuff going on. Please subscribe. And you know what? Thanks again. It's been a great meeting, TJ and Bill. Appreciate you being on. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Adios.
To know Boyle Political Arenas on all major social media platforms. Make sure to give us and your host a follow.
Hey everybody, this is Sophia Nelson. Follow me at I am Sophia Nelson on every one of my social media platforms.
I'm Bill O'Reilly, and you can reach me at Twitter at WFBOR.
Hey, this is TJ. Follow me on X or Twitter at TJ McCormack.
This is Brian Mistro, and you can follow me on X at Brian_Mistro or follow along on Facebook at Brian.Mistro.
A Noble Media Group member.